Hey, it's Kate. I hope you're having a great day. What's in the garden today is the raspberry bed, why it's not growing well, and what I'm going to do to fix it. So here's the raspberry bed. I have multiple varieties of summer-bearing raspberries which set fruit on the canes that grew the year before. So I've already pruned out the old canes that fruited last summer, and what's left are the fruiting canes for this summer. It's looking pretty sad and very different from this time last year. So I've been thinking about what went wrong, and I've got 4 reasons that I think explain the situation pretty well. I'm going to get those dealt with, and then I've got an upgrade that I would love to do, but I just keep putting off. The first problem is competition. This bed is right next to a row of extremely established arborvitae. I'm going to give them a bit of a trim to keep them at bay, but my real concern is in the ground.
This bed has been here for a number of years now. The soil is completely full of arborvitae roots, and because arborvitae are thirsty plants, they are a significant competitor for the raspberries. On the other hand, raspberries are a hardy plant, and out of the plants I have, they're probably one of the best suited options for this bed, considering the competition and general situation.
Next time use a tarp. I know better than that. So I don't think the arborvitae pose an existential threat to the raspberries. The raspberries are just going to have to deal with the situation, and I'm going to have to make it up to them in another way. Okay. Let's climb out of that rabbit hole and talk about some actual holes. Not made by rabbits, probably made by rats, which I'm not excited to talk about. But it is problem number 2. Most people don't bring it up. Rodents in the garden is not glamorous. It is, however, a reality. Mostly this has not been a problem for me, but last year, maybe the year before as well, there was tunneling in that bed. Presumably, some of the root systems have been damaged and contributed to the raspberry plants growing poorly.
Dealing with rodents in the garden is not easy. There are passive preventative options like keeping your garden more tidy and clear so it's not as inviting for rodents and they have less places to hide and feel safe. There are also active type options like traps, but they can be controversial and problematic if you have small children and pets, and they sometimes catch non-rodents like birds.
So in my case, fortunately by chance, these tunnels seem to be abandoned. So I guess we're just going to call this problem fixed, and I'll fill in the holes. Which brings us to our next issue, which is soil nutrition. Now, I built this raised bed many years ago, before I was really into gardening, and I don't remember what I filled it with, other than it was a cheap bagged soil claiming to be humus rich. Since then, I have not been adding anything to it. In fact, it used to be a taller bed, and it's since decomposed and compressed down over the years.
With that in mind, I'll assume these plants are hungry. So I'll start by adding some well-aged homemade compost. I'll use it to fill in the holes and spread a layer across the whole bed. This will provide them with a fresh infusion of nutrients that will hopefully reinvigorate them this season. And then I'll top it off with my basic leaf and grass mixture as mulch. It's a combination of fall leaves and grass clippings, making it somewhere between leaf mold and compost. It's partially decomposed, but it does still have some of its original structure, making it fairly light and fluffy.
This mulch layer is also going to help with the next issue, being water. So the mulch will help hold the moisture in and prevent evaporation, but that only works if the water is there to begin with. I actually think this is the main problem and the source of the poor growth from last year. I didn't water the raspberries enough. I know it looks like I have a sprinkler system set up here, but it doesn't work well and I'm not happy with it. So before I add the mulch, I'm going to fix the irrigation system so that it does a better job and I don't end up watering this bed poorly by hand.
So I've clearly dabbled in some DIY irrigation setups. Unfortunately, I haven't been happy with most of them. This one uses these spraying sprinklers, but they're not the right thing for this bed. It's a lot of water spraying around, but not to the right place. So I'm going to take those out, and instead I'm going to use drip hose. Last summer, I tried out drip hose and found it was pretty easy to use, and I think it'll be fairly reliable. So I'm digging out the old sprinklers and hooking into the buried hose for this zone. Then I'm adding 2 lengths of drip hose, which has emitters every 18 inches. So there should be a good spread of water across this bed. After that, all that's left to do is add a timer when the weather warms up in the spring.
And with the irrigation in place, I can finally add the mulch on top, so the water will be delivered right where it needs to be, which is at the roots. This is going to be so much better. Now that all these issues have been dealt with, I can finally move on to that raspberry upgrade that I keep putting off. But it is sunset here. However, through the power of movie magic, you can watch my raspberry upgrade video right away, which means I've got a lot of work to do still. So for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.